Hello, everyone. Welcome to Plastic Cards Podcast, a show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire,
Hold on.
Gavin Jones, and you're blending into the background.
I am blending into the
Nice.
background.
That is awesome. How you been?
Gavin's been good. Gavin's hanging in there, referring to himself in third person.
That's when you've finally lost it. Is when you do that. Or like Terry on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Gavin loves love.
Yeah.
Gavin loves yogurt. But I've been very good.
Nice.
You know, how have you been?
Been good. Nothing crazy. Trying to get amped for the skydive next week. I'm pretty pumped and excited and scared. And I usually don't have any nerves until they're basically loading you on the plane. And it's like,
Right.
Oh shit, this is real. And you can't really back out.
I imagine it's a lot like getting a tattoo. Like every time you go get a tattoo, you're just like, why am I nervous? Like I've done this before. And then you're actually in it and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Because it hurts, but it's still doable pain. It's not like end of the world. I actually just put a deposit for a new tattoo, but the guy I go through is booked till like November. So it's like mid-November or whatever. No, December. But I actually have a poster over there. It's it's a promotional thing from Fallout, and it's this chick.
The bombshell?
Yeah. How would I Google that, Gavin? Fallout girl?
Fallout,
That Fallout
Nuka-Cola bombshell.
There
or
you
just
go.
Nuka-Cola bombshell.
Yeah, Nuka-Cola bombshell. So the plan is to get on the other side, since I have this like witch on one of the forearms.
There you go.
Yes, and I've seen really cool like pinup versions of this, and so I'm gonna go with like a pinup style kind of thing.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Who are you getting that through?
Through Bobby, who works at he has his own shop now actually in town. So yeah, so it's the same guy that I've gotten all my stuff from. So just gonna get that going. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I always breaking shit as soon as you get here. But yeah, excited for that. Playing any games this week?
Yeah. So more team fight tactics because
Oh, boy.
I'm a fiend.
Yeah.
Little bit of Spelunky because I'm still terrible at it.
Did you see they updated the first level or made it more approachable, or they changed some mechanic? I was reading about that. I don't know what the mechanic was, but I know that they changed something.
Yeah, they lowered like the spawn rates of enemies, and they're changing a few different things, but that's mainly it. And I don't know if the change is in or not. To me, it's still really hard.
I see.
But I'm still not used to like the muscle memory is just not there yet. And like regular Spelunky, I can still pop back to this day and be okay. Same with Nuclear Throne, but Spelunky, it's you idiot.
You're constantly judging whoever we're watching the
That
gameplay.
was so dumb.
Can you change how your character looks, or is that like specific for
there
what's
are
going
multiple characters. They all play the same.
Okay.
But there are multiple characters.
on? I always think of the classic Spelunky looking weird guy.
Oh yeah, and he's in there, but he's just old in this one.
Oh really?
Because the story is like you're Spelunky guy's daughter.
Okay. Now is he just like Doom guy? He's just called Spelunky guy?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
I don't think so. He could be. Where was it going?
You're playing Spelunky.
Yeah, so I'm still bad at it. I took a break because I've been seeing a lot of people playing Hades lately.
Oh yeah.
So I popped in and played some Hades.
What'd you think of that?
God, that game is so polished. It's Donkey Kong.
Donkey
How
Kong.
polished Hades really is.
Yeah.
It's basically a AAA, even though they're considered an indie studio. Like this is basically a AAA roguelite style game. So
Gotcha.
it's really fucking good. It's really varied as too. That's the thing. Like all these weapons you pick all play vastly differently from each other.
Okay.
Which is so cool. It's basically like the weapons are like what would be the equivalent in a different game of a different character. But since everything's based around Zagreus, they're doing different weapons instead, and I think it works fantastic.
Do you think there is like these mythological stuff going on? And it reminds me of God of War, but could there be like a side, game of God of War in this style? Because I feel like there's a lot of similarities where they could do something like this. Is it needed?
I don't think it's needed. But I think like is it possible and would it be awesome? Yes, but also it's basically this at that point.
That's true.
But this I mean it's very important that they picked the character that they did. I think he's original. I don't think he was, but I don't know enough about Greek mythology, but I think he's an original character and he's the daughter of Hades and somebody else. And there's a little bit more to that. And it's really just exploring as you between runs, you're continually exploring your relationships between you and the other characters. In where's this place again?
Hades or Hell, somewhere
Hades?
in Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's just Hades, right?
Yeah, I think just Hell is where Hades hangs out.
So it's really kind of exploring your relationship between you and all these other people, and that's super important, and I think really comes from having that original character allows for all these big gods are trying to help you get out, like they're rooting for you.
Okay.
I think I want to say because you're half like proper god up in the Mount Olympus.
Gotcha.
I know that's a tiny spoiler, but if anyone didn't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that reminds me with the story. That's something I don't think about when I see the gameplay. I just I keep hearing the praise for the gameplay, but there is a lot of praise for the way they're handling the characters and the story you go through and like the interaction with the characters. I know people are talking about that too.
Right. And it's a very important mix of the two. But yeah, I'd say the gameplay is really what you come for. Like all these cool modifications to your gameplay style are sort of done in a way that I don't know that I've necessarily experienced in a roguelite before. It was definitely very painstakingly done, and it really, really works. So I really appreciate that. Also, I love that. I think this is a really important thing that a lot of games get wrong is you look at that you only have 3 options. So you're not really going to be dealing too much with, being over encumbered with these options. These are very clear power-ups and how they work, assuming you know what some of these words mean. And you're not going to be dealing with, what's the term? There's a term, analysis paralysis.
Gotcha. I know Borderlands always, at least the first ones did that with me, where there was so much going on, so many different guns, and it just it was overwhelming for me. But
your skill tree is big and crazy. I mean, this is almost just like a skill tree where you only see 2 things at a time. It's kind of oversimplifying it and kind of incorrect, but at the same time. There's one last game I'm looking up because I texted you about it. I'm gonna butcher this. Where is it?
Yeah, this is one you were describing to me over the week, right? The Katamari like?
Yeah.
Katamari meets something.
Pikuniku.
Okay, I'm gonna try my best to.
Yep,
okay,
there you go.
Nice.
This game is so fucking cute. It's an indie platformer. I really thought, looking at the screenshots, I assumed you control.
Okay, there's
yeah, you play the beast in the cave.
Okay.
But I had assumed from watching the character move that you control each leg with a different stick. Because like, look at this goofy ass movement.
So that's just you moving. You're not independently moving the.
No, that's just you move. It's got this really weird. I forget what the term for that style of movement. But it's super cute. It's got this adorable art style. The platforming isn't very good, but what you're doing is just adorable, and you're having these little adventures, and you're interacting with these people and sort of solving the puzzle of the area you're in, and it's just adorable. I'm guessing it's easy enough that kids could play it. It's absolutely delightful. I think you would like it.
Yeah,
it doesn't have. Yeah,
I love Katamari and that kind of thing, or. That game where you shove things into holes. I forget what it's called. Donut County.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is right up my alley. Just super cute, weird stuff.
Right.
This is on PC, I assume, or Switch.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. That's why I played it.
Oh, right.
I don't even remember downloading it, so I think I was really drunk and downloaded it. But
I wouldn't mind if Game Pass, if you have the hard drive space, would go, hey, you play this stuff, you'll probably like this. It's on there anyways. Like, there you go.
But again, if we take my play it in the cloud while you're waiting for it to download solution,
that's a feature.
You can do that for everything. But it also reminds me, like, doing all these little missions in the area that you're in reminds me a lot of like a Paper Mario or a Wonder Song.
Nice.
And I really enjoy that sort of localized puzzles of the areas you're in, and it's so fucking cute. So I recommend this game to literally everyone. Now that I'm playing it,
That's awesome.
it's delightful.
How far are you? Like, you just the first kind of couple hours or something, or a couple minutes?
I'd probably say I'm 4 hours, 5 hours in. I wasn't expecting to play it for as long as I did. I thought I was going to play it for all of 5 seconds, and then, but I had so much fun beating this first area, which we're seeing here.
Yeah, the way your feet move is already just like hypnotic enough to get me to play this game, and just funny enough.
It's too cute.
Nice.
I think that was everything I played. What about you? What have you played this weekend?
Not a whole lot. I played some of the Call of Duty beta, jumped into that, and it's cool. It's just a thing with Call of Duty that I'm just really fucking bad. And so as I'm playing, and it's especially, of course, it's the multiplayer beta, so that's where I'm the worst at, but it's still fun to play. It's just I suck. I'm constantly getting killed, and it takes a while to nail like the where to kind of navigate in the maps and all that thing, but the maps are super balanced. And it's crazy gorgeous too. This isn't the same engine as Modern Warfare. It's because they not crisscross. They go back and forth with their whatever devs that they have to use to do it, right? And this isn't the last one, Sledgehammer. I want to say this is now a different team, so it maybe just like a modified version of that engine. But either way, it's crazy beautiful and just dope. And even though I keep dying, it's very fun, and I enjoy playing it.
It looks gorgeous. I'd love to.
There's one particular level, I don't think I have it in this footage, but there's like a sand kind of level, and that one is just insanely nuts.
Now, what modes are available in the beta that you're playing?
There's a bunch. So you think I would remember them with all the Call of Duty that I play, but I usually just go for like team deathmatch. But there is a bunch of capture the flag kind of stuff, or there's a VIP mode where you have to like protect one of your teammates.
It's weird having my
got footage on you. But
banned. Instantly banned.
Yeah, so there's a good amount in the beta to try. And yeah, it's free now on PC, on PS4. I want to say Xbox right now. But yeah, it's been fun. And as soon as I can, I mute the mic for everyone because there's just a bunch of assholes on there. So it's this weird love-hate thing with Call of Duty where it's like, I don't think I get along with anybody in that community, but I like the gameplay. So it's like, I just got to find the right people, I guess, if I ever want to talk to anyone and play this game. But it's dope. And I don't know if it's enough this time around to get me to jump in right away. The last one did. Modern Warfare I think it was just enough of a upgrade on the engine that I was like, I got to try this. But this one seems fun, but I think I can wait a little bit on this. But yeah, there was this, and then I played something else that I am blanking on that maybe I told you about, maybe I didn't.
Now, can you play this in 4K? Because you're playing on your PC, right?
You can. I'll swap back. So I'll play in 4K and at like 60 frames per second, and it looks gorgeous. But I've been becoming more and more of a person who prefers the higher frame rate. So I will play in 120 frames per second and then just 1080, and it still looks crazy gorgeous. And I love just that little bit more of animation. I don't think it gives me any edge. I just like seeing the more fluid animations with how everything's unfolding. And then just the action just feels a bit more crazier.
Will this use RTX?
I think
really
it will
look like it.
No, I think in the beta at least there's no option to turn that on, but I think it will at the very least. The campaign will have some kind of RTX mode, and I know they're saying that for PS5 that they're going to have some kind of RTX feature or ray tracing feature in PS5, Xbox Series X. So it's going to be there, and but yeah, that's really what I'm looking forward to is the campaign. The campaign looks pretty nuts. But yeah, playing that in kind of a slow week for video games. Didn't really get to jump into much. I did download. I think I bought this game, I don't know, 10 fucking times now, but BioShock 1 and 2 on Switch, just because I want to see how they perform on the Switch. But I haven't played it yet, but I've purchased that again for the 13th time.
I was watching a streamer play it, and it really, I mean, if nothing else, it looks a lot like the original Xbox version of the game.
I'm sure they can at least handle that, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the second one is one I keep circling around to because I never gave it enough time when it came out or like the benefit of a doubt because it was a different team. But people love it, and so I really need to commit to playing through it.
Well, having played through it maybe 6 months ago, not even that. Like,
oh right,
God, I truly think of BioShock 1 and 2, it definitely has the better gameplay. It's a lot more. I don't know. It's really satisfying. The levels are also. I mean, the levels are always designed well in a BioShock game. Right. There's certainly no exception.
That's the thing with the guys that made the team that made. Well, they worked on the DLC. There's like this really famous DLC for BioShock 2 that's Minerva's Den, I want to say, which might be in the collection now. But that one, the level design is highly praised. That team went and worked on Gone Home.
Was that the downloadable content for BioShock Infinite?
No, it's still the second one. This is back when that second one released. So you're still in BioShock or that what's this underground water world? I forget what it's called. Waterworld 2. But you're still there, and but yeah, that team was like really high praise for what they worked on. They ended up leaving. Was it 2K and created Gone Home, and they're running Fulbright games. They've gone home, and then the that space game too.
And that was downloadable content for this game.
For this game, yes.
Interesting.
And it might be part of
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, people really dig that DLC. So
I still really need to check out the DLC for BioShock Infinite because that one's supposed to be really good.
Yep. I think I played the first episode because that's when you go back into Rapture. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
You go back into Rapture and it's with this improved engine and stuff. But yeah, I need to try that.
Which is too bad you played the first one because the first one of those is supposed to be like just kind of okay.
Right.
The second one is supposed to be like so unique.
They're really like setting it up.
Different.
Yeah.
It's stealthy.
And now you can play them all at once. I know when it originally released, I played the first episode because they're in chunks, but now you can play it all, and it looks dope. But yeah, this one you got to play the Big Daddy. I know my nephew. This is one of the few games he's beaten, and so he's beat it, and I've kind of watched him and helped him play through it, and I need to actually play this for myself. But he loved it. So
yeah, it's definitely the story's not as good in this one, but it is a direct sequel to BioShock 1, and I think that's sort of nice.
Where do you think they go? Because they're working on Vapor Chamber or something as the dev now. They're working on some kind of spiritual successor to BioShock. Where do they go with it?
This is the thing. There's so many. The devs for the BioShock games have been split 6 ways to Sunday. So like when you hear people saying like, "Oh, from the creators of BioShock," like which ones though? Because there was that one game, We Happy Few, that was supposed to be like another BioShock style game, but it was way different.
But do you necessarily need the devs on the team anymore? Like, say, like the Doom reboot, they didn't really have anybody from the original. id.
No, I don't think you do. I mean, as long as you can capture the feeling, right, the attitude, and that's why for me, when I played Prey, like very quickly into Prey, I'm like, fuck, this is a BioShock game. I don't know what else can really claim that territory.
Do they recreate Rapture then, or do they go somewhere completely different? And try and like redo the first BioShock?
I think, to me, as much as I think it's really cool that they have these amazing locations, right?
Yeah.
That sort of constantly keep you in awe. I don't think, possibly controversial opinion, I don't think the location is the most important thing in a BioShock. I think you really need, these fantastic villains. They're almost like a different flavor of like more modern style Far Cry game, right? Where you have these amazing villains, this super interesting gameplay, these really well designed levels that you want to explore each and every corner, nook and cranny. And again, going back to Prey, that's what they did. And so I don't think you need to do, there's that concern of where you go. They did Under the Sea, they did In the Sky.
Yeah.
What's really left that's fantastical and not necessarily realistic?
See, that's the thing. Prey did it with space. Like that'd be the next, and eventual thing is to go to space. But Prey did that. So do you go back in time,
underground bunker? Do you do it in a volcano? Inside of a hurricane? But that's basically BioShock Infinite at that point.
Yeah, they need to. Maybe the best route is to just strip it down completely to what makes BioShock fun and interesting, and like a really small environment, and maybe just kind of throw it all completely out of the window and do something really, really very different. Because they're always going to be compared to these. You can't really touch these environments anymore unless you're saying we're going to remaster or remake it rather.
Sure. And they could have done that with We Happy Few if it had worked out, but they went a very different route. Just sort of alternate history, I certainly think would be fine. And these are certainly alternate history games.
The third one really tried to go that route too.
Right. Yeah.
But I wonder, I think we're going to get info very soon because they announced that they're working on this maybe 2 years ago, that they're working on a successor to BioShock. So I feel like now we should at least start getting trailer stuff or teasers. Maybe the Game Awards coming up this year will be the next thing to tease something. I don't necessarily think like gameplay.
Right.
But
is Ken Levine still doing stuff?
He's not. He has his own studio, and I think they announced that they're getting closer to releasing something. I just saw that in the news recently. So Ken Levine, I'm just Googling it right now. New game has entered later stages of production, so that's 5 days ago. So I don't know what it's going to be. Okay, so Ghost Story Games is working on an immersive sci-fi game with RPG elements. So this is from Video Games Chronicle. So yeah, it's happening. It's only taken them, I don't know, 10 fucking years since they actually started his own
he's
studio.
Always constantly changing. Like, he's a big part of the reason why these games take so long. It's because he keeps changing his fucking mind.
But I mean, he's good at what he does, so it's like you kind of have to trust the
end
process. But yeah.
And to me though, like if you scroll back up, like, you know, immersive sci-fi game with an RPG element, that makes me think like a solid place they could go is either, you know, like a Cthulhu-esque style world.
Yeah.
Or, well, I guess, sorry, it says RPG elements. In my head, I read fantasy, or no, what I read? Not fantasy style elements. I don't know what I read.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you could totally do, like, why not travel to, like, you know, open up a portal to an alien world?
Sure.
That could be very doable.
Yep.
I
imagine they're going to try and push the fantastical stuff, the sci-fi stuff, and the crazy enemies. That's kind of his bread and butter. So I imagine it's going to be super dope, but I'm hoping they're close to showing something on that. But there's already enough games, so I really don't need to worry about the stuff that's still just a twinkle in someone's eye. But yeah, really, beyond that, didn't play much. We can jump into some of the news, Gavin. We got this one. It was interesting and kind of got people in a tuffle, in a frenzy. This is Sony will let PS5 owners record their voice chats and snitch on fellow players.
Ooh.
This is TheVerge.com, Jay Peters. Some PlayStation 4 users who downloaded the latest 8.0 update got an unwelcome surprise this morning. Their console informed them that Sony had the right to record their voice for moderation purposes. Initially, the update's release notes contained no mention of the voice recordings, but at some point today, Sony clarified what the messages meant in an update to its official blog post. So this is a quote from them. Voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5 when it launches and will enable users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review. In theory, anything you say in a voice chat that could be sent to Sony without your explicit consent, but the feature could also be a useful tool to help people report bad party members that may be harassing them. So yeah, at large, people got worried, angry that Sony's going to be listening to them, you know, whatever they're playing, or they're beating their family member in the background. That's not the case. It's just for if you're talking to someone, you send them a chat, and if you're an asshole, they have the right to send that to Sony and say, hey, this guy's an asshole, get them off their back. So not the end of the world, but I think that's a positive feature to let people report that kind of stuff.
I think so, but you know, the internet, they do enjoy being both racist and
anonymous too.
Yeah. So
they did. So Sony has felt some of the backlash. So they reiterated or went into detail. They said this feature will not actively monitor or listen in on your conversations ever. They also put out a tweet, which I don't have, saying we're listening to feedback and we'll keep you posted on whatever changes they make. So I don't know if they're going to walk this whole thing back, which I doubt and wouldn't want them to, because I think it's still a positive thing. It's just making sure people know, yeah, we're not recording to you. And also, we already have things recording us anyways. Like you have your phone, you have your Alexa, all that shit is recording you. So this would just be another thing, but it's not doing that. It's only when you send a voice chat and someone reports it. That's the only really way that Sony would give a shit and pay somebody to listen to it.
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, this got the internet a little riled up. They also showed off the UI for the PS5, so we can just scrub through it, and it's just it's cool that we're getting to see this. And of course, Xbox has been revealing a lot of stuff from the get-go for the past couple months, but PS5 is finally showing off the intro little UI sequence and showing off the whole card system where you can flip between games, and even certain levels you can just jump right into a level or a challenge rather. So just showing off the PS5 SSD tech, and they're showing off this new Sackboy game. But yeah, just kind of letting you flip through games. That's kind of the standard now. Xbox is really showing that off lately, how you can just cycle through games like an insane person. I don't know who's going to really do that, jump back and forth.
I would totally do that.
You do that once, and then you go, yeah, cool, I'm never going to need to do that again. I mean, like, I guess within a gameplay moment, like, you're not going to be cycling through games that fast, or you know. But as a feature, it's cool. They did show off, and I'm trying to scrub through here. There was a patent that they was released a couple months ago. This like help feature, so you can within the UI you can look at a YouTube video and like Sony's own set of videos that show you how to beat a certain level or if you need help. So it's within the UI, you can ask for help and it will show you a tutorial, and you can like blow it up on the screen. You can have it side by side, and then kind of work through the level. So if you're trying to pick up, random trophies or things in the corner of the game, you can just kind of have this playthrough going at the same time, which is cool.
Little baby one tutorial on how to beat a game.
Hey, I definitely need this.
I kid.
I absolutely need this. And it's kind of annoying to have your phone up and then trying to, mute it because it's some terrible YouTuber and you just want to see the tutorial.
You can't jerk it anymore when that's your porn screen. And then,
that's true. Then it's like, how many screens do I need in my house? That's tough.
You gotta go get a dedicated porn tablet. It's just.
But yeah, they finally showed off some more info. We're getting very close to PS5 and Xbox. Less than a month? Right around a month from now?
Yeah.
Getting pretty close.
So much stuff coming out. Like Cyberpunk is in slightly over a month. We really got to upgrade my PC. Toot sweet.
I was going to ask you just today too. Like, have you made any more like mental, breakthroughs to be like, okay, I'm going to buy something, buy this, buy the case or another component? Or are you still kind of waiting?
No.
Okay. Well, you keep telling me we got to build it. It's like, well, you got to buy this shit so we can build it.
Right. So I need to go back through and kind of look at all the stuff that.
Gotcha.
We'll see where we can.
There's safe things you can get, like the case. If you set on the case, you can buy that. RAM, you can buy stuff that's not going to really change or anything.
Okay.
But it's coming up soon. So, speaking, we talked a little bit about next gen stuff. We got Xbox Series X. There's just this quick video of how quickly you can boot up into a game, which is pretty dope. So I thought I had it ready, but I don't. So here's just a little video example of somebody booting up, because a lot of influencers and other people have the Xbox in possession. They just don't have any next gen games to play, but they have this stuff that they can show off some of the features. So this is just how quick you can boot up. So this person is, and you'll see the little boop boop. There you go.
No signal.
Right. So from booting it up to UI, which is already super fast,
right, and
then eventually into a game. But yeah, right into Gears 5. That's insanely fast, and I can't wait because that's it for a lot of games. It takes a while to just trudge to the UI or the loading screens, and like this is incredibly fast.
I'm hard.
Right.
Can we talk about how him putting that next to a record player is a perfect size comparison?
Yeah, sure. It helps you like really put into context. That thing is a tower. It's like a PC tower, basically.
It's really not that. From
it's
what
pretty
I've been
tall.
Like watching people's videos, like it's really just like a little bit bigger than your head. Like that's like basically the Black Knight helmet from wait, was it Square in Monty Python and the Holy Grail? No, I'm thinking of I may be thinking of Dirk Gently season 2.
Okay, I didn't watch that show. But it's that size roughly.
Yeah, it's not too terribly big.
You know what? I have the pre-order for the Series S. I don't have the pre-order for the Series X. But I was thinking if I ever have this, I want to have it facing me with that grill and the green LED. I want that facing me. That's how I want it. I'm thinking also because it's so tall, it's not going to fit anything.
Look me in the eyes when I play its games.
Exactly. So I'm down for that kind of configuration. I've seen no one else do it, but it has little permanent feet, so you can put it on its side. You can stand it up, so you don't have that separate little holder that the PS5 needs. But
yeah,
that's the thing. Everyone has the Xbox right now; they're testing it out, but no one has the PS5 yet. So I'm really interested to see once it gets into people's hands and they start trying it, give early impressions, what they think. Also of the size, like because that size is nuts. So it's going to be tough to find a place to put this thing for the PS5. Yeah, that's going to be a whole different ball game, just trying to figure out where to put this thing
in my butt.
There you go.
Plenty of room.
But there's a smidge more of info on, speaking of Xbox, the acquisition of Bethesda from Microsoft, them talking a little bit more about do they have plans to move it and so on. So they got an interview with Kotaku, but IGN has a story. So Phil Spencer on whether Microsoft needs to bring future Bethesda games to PS5. This is Matthew Adler of IGN. Microsoft shocked the gaming world when it acquired Bethesda and parent company ZeniMax Media recently for a whopping $7.5 billion. However, the decision has left a lot of people curious about the future of Bethesda games on other platforms, notably Sony's upcoming PS5. Kotaku's Stephen Totillo interviewed Xbox's Phil Spencer to discuss a bit more about the deal. Is it possible to recoup a $7.5 billion investment if you don't sell Elder Scrolls 6 on the PlayStation? Asked Totillo. Yes, Spencer quickly replied, then he paused. When I think about where people are going to be playing and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud and PC and Game Pass and our console base, I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform other than the platforms that we support in order to kind of make the deal work for us. Spencer continued, whatever that means.
Well, so it's Xbox exclusive.
Pretty much. This is another nail or confirm kind of statement that, yeah. I mean,
they got to put the dick on the table at some point.
I think so. This has been a lot of big criticism for Xbox, and it's been one of mine too. So it's interesting to see people get angry or have that same criticism going these past couple of years. They don't have enough games, enough first party.
Right.
Then they do one of the biggest moves ever, and then people are mad that it's now not going to go on PS5. It's like, that's the whole thing. No. That's what they've been trying to do. And they finally made that move, and people are still angry. But
Sony's got Sony. If they can either respond by doing something equally big,
sure. Well, they have enough first party under their belt. I think they just hunker down on those and show you, hey, we have a bunch of these, not just this huge entity which is Bethesda, but we have a bunch of these top-notch studios, and we're just going to keep pumping them out. So maybe they.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, the Ori and the Blind Forest people, those are owned by Microsoft, right?
I want to say that's first party, yeah.
And they just said that their next game is going to be a Zelda-style game.
Yeah.
A 3D Zelda-style game. Like, fuck, they've got talent.
Oh, yeah.
On Microsoft. Because they went from, I think, buying Bethesda almost doubled the amount of studios that they've acquired. And they've got, people forget, they have Double Fine.
They have Double Fine. That's another kind of sneaky acquire that they have, and that's huge. They have the one game with the lady, and it's a mental health thing, and it's dope.
Oh, that's
and it's
right.
Like a Viking kind of situation.
Obsidian is going to start. Obsidian. They've got money behind them now. They're going to start whipping this shit out. Yep. Like, this is, we haven't yet begun to see.
No, and that's the thing. This next year, the year after that, we're going to see these huge heavy hitter games from Xbox, and it's really going to put PS5 or PlayStation on their toes because they've enjoyed the last 5-7 years with this without that big competition, and now they're going to get it, and it's going to be super interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they made that acquisition. I'm glad that they're keeping it on their system because it just gives you, they've needed a reason for people to buy Xbox, and this is a hell of a reason to stay there. And they have the cheapest next gen console out there too. They with the Series S. Yeah. So they've really they're playing like 3-dimensional chess here when everyone thought that they were kind of losing their steam, but they were really thinking about things ahead.
Man, can you imagine if they bought CD Projekt Red? Like at that point, now I don't think they can afford them at this point. I think CD Projekt Red likes their position.
Right.
But if they bought them, like, Sony'd shit a full-size brick.
Yeah. You just wrap it up at that point. I don't know what you do.
Like, what do we... Even Final Fantasy isn't exclusive anymore. Like,
yeah.
Did that come out on Xbox?
No, it's like a year-timed exclusive, so next February.
But it came out on PC, though.
I think it's coming out soon. I don't know if it's out yet on PC. But
I think it is already on PC.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it could be.
I could be wrong, but I think.
I want to say that was also timed exclusive, but I know it is going to PC for sure.
I mean, at that point, like when you got all that stuff, like all these studios who aren't owned by Sony but have been giving them exclusive, they'd be looking at Microsoft like, well, shit.
Yeah, that's nuts. You mentioned what if they bought CD Projekt Red? I've heard people say that as far as like just with the momentum they're going with dropping this billions of dollars. There's another thing people wondered. It would be what if Cyberpunk is going to be a Game Pass game? Like, what if made a deal to make that a Game Pass game? That'd be another huge move to make. I just don't think that CD Projekt Red is interested because just like Rockstar, they want to make as much money possible and just flood the market on every console that they can release on.
Right. And you look at the aspect as well of like when the Witcher TV show came out, it outsold the original offering. So them still selling these games is smarter in the long run.
Yeah, it's got to work for the company. So with Bethesda, they must have thought it's going to work for us if we make this deal for whatever reason behind the scenes that they made it. But for some devs, it's better to just, if they can, they're already making money everywhere. It's like, why they'd almost be limiting their scope a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's speaking of Bethesda, tomorrow the DLC for Doom drops, which is why I'm wearing my Doom shirt that I just got today.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's the Elder Gods or the Ancient Gods. I can't fucking wait. But yeah, so that's DLC for Doom Eternal.
Didn't even know.
Yep.
When is I hear the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima is coming out here soon.
Yeah, that dropped Friday, Thursday, and so that has the Legends mode. I want to say it's called, where it's that multiplayer mode. So that's just free part of that update. And there's other like little quality of life updates they've had. But
Pretty cool.
yeah, I was talking to Callum, so he played through that Legends mode, and he dug it. But I guess the grinding is weird, and some of the story elements are kind of weird. But the fact that it's free and it's this incredibly deep, whole multiplayer thing that they could have just charged for, but they just released it. I think that's awesome. But yeah, so there's maybe mixed views on it, but it seems like overall people are digging it. So yeah, that already released. Speaking of Cyberpunk, Gavin, so this was released. They had their live Night City Wire event last Thursday. Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire vehicles, fashion, and Stadia release date revealed. So IGN has a little blurb here from Matt Perslow. The latest episode of Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire revealed new details about the game's vehicles and fashion styles, as well as the Stadia release date. Finally, CDPR also announced that Cyberpunk 2077 will be available on Google Stadia on November 19th, the same day as PC and consoles. We can watch some footage, but how do you feel about them actually committing to getting this thing on Stadia day one? Because I feel like it's been hard for a lot of other devs like Doom. Right. They didn't nail that date like they promised. How do you feel about it being on Stadia?
I think that's a big win for Stadia. Again, especially when you have people like me whose my hardware can't run this game.
Right.
And I could, in theory, just buy it on Stadia, which I can now get for like a free version, right?
There is. I'm not sure how long that goes for, but yeah, otherwise it's like $10, $20 a month, something like that.
Yeah. So in theory, I could play this game at a ridiculous graphical quality, assuming it probably runs fantastic.
Their other games do run fine. I never tried Doom Eternal on Stadia. It's now released. I just didn't want to have to pay another $60 to right. That's the thing, you have to pay for these games and then pay for the subscription. So they really need to go full Netflix mode. But yeah, I'm really waiting for Digital Foundry to do their breakdown across all consoles, PC, and I want to see how it performs on Stadia before I pull the trigger. But yeah, if it actually performs well, then that's a huge, easy way for people to play a PC version of this beautiful game just through Stadia.
I do like in this little vehicles demo they show here, there are early on they show supercars, and then there's like elite supercars. These are like supercars.
There's a lot of GTA moments. Like they're going full GTA with this, where you can rip people from their cars. Right. You can drive everywhere, like on the sidewalks. And this is just like, it's going to be interesting to see people move from GTA to this, because I think this is definitely going to eat their lunch, especially when they have the multiplayer mode eventually that they're working on.
I don't think the multiplayer mode is quite like GTA's multiplayer mode, though.
Do you think it's just like missions and stuff? It's not like full blown open world?
I was under the assumption that it's just like Call of Duty style, like deathmatch and stuff.
Gotcha.
If it is actually like open world, GTA style, man, that could.
Yeah, this is going to be selling copies for the next 10 years, just like GTA 5.
Oh God, CG Projekt Red with even more money for this game, like that's.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. I cannot wait for this game. This is just insanely beautiful. Somehow they're nailing it. Yeah. I was always skittish about how open the world was and how beautiful they're trying to make it, but with the footage at least that they're showing, it seems like it all works.
Yeah.
And not very buggy. I'll accept a certain amount of bugs, just like GTA has bugs in it for sure. Yeah. But if they can kind of keep those minimal, this is gonna be nuts.
Have they said not even on camera?
Okay, doesn't matter.
Have they said how big this game is on a hard drive? Because I would love to have this on my solid state.
Yeah, I think it's not going over 100 gigs. I feel like they've mentioned an exact amount, but I don't remember it being over 100 gigs. So you can get 100 gig SSD, a 251, and there you go. Yeah, because you'd want to have
room for your.
Well, if you had like a separate plugged-in SSD, and then you could just boot it.
Sure.
One SSD dedicated to this game, but I think it'd be worth it, honestly, to make sure this is like the fastest loading and just having the best advantage playing this game. But yeah, crazy beautiful. They show a bunch of vehicles and fashion and stuff, and I just can't wait any longer. I want to play this game. So dope. Coming up soon. So yeah, November 19th. So what's today, the 19th? A month away.
I'm curious about they say the classic cars in there, and I can't tell if that's a Porsche 911.
I think it is. It's a Porsche something, because the Johnny Silverhand dude, he has this classic car, and I think they're going to make deals with other manufacturers to bring like a Ford, whatever, like a Mustang or something.
Oh, Mustang would be fucking dope. It'd make no sense in this universe. Like, clearly you get a modern supercar.
Yeah, but I imagine this is still the future of, like American version, so people still yearn for those like older versions of cars and will keep them floating around. But I think that is a Porsche.
I'd be curious to know how much in this game, like, is there anything stopping you? Because really in GTA, you see a supercar, you make that yours.
Right. I think it's gonna be different here because you're gonna assume they have weapons, they have upgrades that would just like stop you right there, or just kill you for trying to get in their car.
Yeah, you open it up, there's just a shotgun waiting for you. Yeah. Slowly close the door back down.
I would absolutely not doubt that they do stuff like that. Yeah, I can't wait.
That would be cool.
Gavin, this kind of snuck up on me, but this is Mario Kart Live Home Circuit released. Right. So it has a Metascore of 75. But I wanted to go through some footage, and it looks really fun. But do you have any interest in this? So this actually released. It's $100.
I don't have a place in my current home to.
Well, they say you need
this. Maybe this is like the privilege game right here.
Yeah,
your place is big enough to.
Well, their whole like marketing thing says you need a 10 by 12 space, so a room at least that big. And then you can make the track overlap in a small space. It doesn't have like extend super far. But yeah, it comes with one Mario Kart character, has a camera. You drive through your little area, and that tells the game that's the track, and then you just drive it. It sends the feed to your Switch or your TV, and you're just playing. You're driving through your living room basically. And like there's real world obstacles too. Like if your cat walks by, it senses it, and you can like crash in, or it will register if you crash into like the leg of a table, that kind of thing. But yeah, all the same power-ups are in there too. It seems pretty dope. I just don't want to pay $100 for it, but it does seem pretty dope.
Right. If I were a kid,
right,
I would love this.
The only downside to that is if you are a kid and you want to play with your siblings, you have to buy another one of these things, which is another $100.
Right.
So otherwise you share it, which kids are not going to fucking share this thing. So that's the downside. But yeah, it's really cool.
It is kind of weird that like you have an RC car, but you're going to be like staring at the screen,
right? Because
it's way more interesting what's going on the screen. But
I guess your siblings or your friends could watch your car go around, but then they don't see the inside AR stuff that's happening, so it's not as fun. I guess they can watch the TV screen, but yeah, you're right. You're all just staring at a screen while there's a little car zipping around.
Yeah, the concept of like having power-ups on the track is so neat. Like when they hit the ice block and they slow down, like seeing that with your cart,
right?
It's super neat.
Yeah, and your cart will stop if you get whatever power up that stops you, and it'll speed up too. So it has like a little limiter, some kind of mode that will let your car speed up more than usual. But it's dope. I love that they've been constantly doing this with the Switch, making these weird products. There's Labo, there's other things like that. There's this where they just kind of they really lean on the whole toy aspect of them as a company.
And let us not forget that each and every Mario Kart that has come out has been better and better looking, and by far the most realistic Mario Kart we've had to date.
Oh yeah, that's
real life textures. Kind of trippy looking at it, like,
right?
Really, it almost like the background does almost look fake. It looks like something you'd see on like an Xbox One X, just like a shrunk down.
And this is, I wonder if the actual footage is the same, but like the lighting in the environments or the obstacles is reflecting or trying to replicate that reflection on the real world. So I like how they're doing that, or casting shadows. I don't know if at the end of the day that's how it looks when you play it, but yeah, seems really cool. I think I would wait for this to be on sale or something. A lot of my nephews and nieces are kind of aging out of this, but that's the only, I guess, thing holding me back. But pretty dope. Yes. But this release, and I just kind of didn't realize it was a thing, and then it's a thing. So it is out. $100. But this was also, it's a kind of a weird trailer that we can watch, but it's a mode for Call of Duty Warzone that just added starting tomorrow. So it's a classic horror character add map edition kind of update to Verdansk. It's called The Haunting of Verdansk. Wesley LeBlanc from IGN has the details. Set to launch on October 20th and run through November 3rd. The Haunting of Verdansk is a new update for Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Warzone Season 6. This Halloween theme event will also feature a new trick or treat reward system and new Halloween themed game modes. But there's these classic horror characters that are popping up in this game, which is kind of weird. The ones they choose. So you have Leatherface that will jump out and attack you. But I don't know if I can scrub through. There's also another like unlikely character that shows up. But there's zombies as well, which I feel like that's perfect for Warzone.
Jetpack zombies?
I guess so. I guess that's the first time. Yeah, and you have like power weapons, super weapons.
I think if you're gonna make this work, like put in a lot of zombies. Like
Sure.
make this a genuine threat. That would be so fucking dope. Really? They're going with this guy?
Yeah, Jigsaw from or the character from Jigsaw. Yeah, I imagine they're setting the traps, or okay, he's just driving around trying to kill you.
I mean, I absolutely adore the concept of a battle royale where you're fighting the environment just as much as you're fighting other people. Games have done that, but when they do, you're typically really not. You're more worried about the people, not so much the environment. Give us something that's
like a Left 4 Dead kind of thing.
And the fact that like it's horror themed, can they lean into that and make this a terrifying? Like it's already tense enough. Right. In a battle royale. Now, I think you run the risk of dying more due to
the enemies.
R&D bullshit. Yeah, like you're hiding, the other person's hiding, and you get chomped on by a zombie. That wasn't really your fault, but for a limited time mode, that could be so fun.
Right. I guess it's all about balance because you're right. You don't want to frustrate everyone because they just keep dying from the environment stuff, from the enemies, but still, that's why you go there, is for that challenge. And it looks like you're not fighting other teams. Maybe you're just fighting the enemies, and that feels like that's an easier route to take. But if you're also fighting other teams, other humans, then it's going to get tricky, but it could be really fun.
I'm down.
Yeah, that's released tomorrow. For 300 gigs only. It's an easy price to download this game.
So I can play this with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's free.
It's free. Only 500 gigabytes. So... Gavin, I found this on Destructoid. It's just more of a question, but I wanted to kind of throw this by you. Can Marvel's Avengers pull a No Man's Sky and totally redeem itself? So I'll just go through this little excerpt from the article itself. From Destructoid, this is CJ Andreessen. It's no secret that Marvel Avengers isn't in the best of places right now. Yes, it sold big in September, enough to top Super Mario 3D All-Stars as the month's top title on the NPD charts, but it's struggling. And with new consoles and several massive titles on the horizon, things are not going to get easier for Crystal Dynamics. But just because it's down does not mean it's out. As we've seen with No Man's Sky, developers can pull their games back from the brink. This is also coupled with news recently. The next-gen version of Marvel's Avengers has been delayed into 2021 as Crystal Dynamics seeks to address existing issues with the game. So the next-gen upgrade of the game. But yeah, I know you haven't played Marvel's Avengers, but how do you feel about them? Is it still possible to change this kind of reception? Because it's really not on my radar, but I wonder what they can change to like make this a game I want to play.
I don't know. I just haven't played it, so I can't really answer this. But I think the thing people have to remember is from what we've seen when we have these games that launch in a terrible state and then improve fantastically, No Man's Sky is the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And all these people are trying to treat it like the rule. What is this character? Like a pre-Iron Man?
I know you have a bunch of different cosmetic options, so you can choose if you want your Iron Man to look like this, like a homeless version or a souped up version, kind of DIY Iron Man. But
go ahead.
It's I'm just the same where I haven't played this, but I've been reading a lot of different receptions where, of course, it's really buggy. But while the campaign, the main mission, a lot of people are pretty fair to positive on. It's the grinding stuff afterwards that doesn't give it any legs. Not like say. Other games of this caliber, where like Destiny, where it doesn't keep you wanting to play afterwards.
Right.
But yeah, I just would have preferred a single player thing from the get go, say like Spider-Man on PS4. But so maybe it's just no matter what they do, it's not going to call out to me. But they still have an issue with the reception that they have.
Yeah, what Anthem was trying to do. Like
that's another thing I think of Anthem too. Do they take a year off and work on this game? I don't think it's as bad as Anthem because it's also selling really well. But those sales are going to be the initial ones, and that's going to drop off, I imagine, these next couple of months.
I guess the other exception to the rule is like a Final Fantasy Realm Reborn. Like this is such a fucking rare. I don't know. I'm going to be pessimistic and say no. But that being said, like looking at this footage of this cutscene, this game is an absolute looker.
Yeah, you can't really fault it for how it looks. I think they definitely put out all the stops, and the character's environment, it seems to run pretty well and play really well. It's just nailing down those mechanics, keeping people wanting to play this afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, part of me wants to say, did they just bite off more than they could chew? But at the same time, we're referencing No Man's Sky, which definitely bit off more than it chew. And now its jaws have grown 10 times.
Right.
And it's it is tearing shit up. Yeah.
It's interesting because we don't know what the inner workings, what the behind the scene deals were, but I feel like Crystal Dynamics wanted to make something that was maybe smaller in scope or not a multiplayer, maybe more like Spider-Man's Marvel Spider-Man. But they, because of the whole, industry, they want to be able to sell this game just like a Destiny and try to kind of keep making money off of it for the years to come. And they were maybe pushing to this. That's just me like imagining what was happening. But maybe they from the get-go wanted to do this kind of thing. And it's just, they also had to hit this deadline and had to make these cuts and keep bugs in there. And so it's also a product of that. But
I just don't know, because like I'd watch Destiny streamers play Destiny and they're playing the same fucking content.
Yeah, a lot of it is that.
For 200 hours. And I watch streamers play this and they dropped out immediately. So what is it about the grind with Destiny that's so fun that this game doesn't have? Is it maybe not challenging enough? Because Destiny, you get these players that are all the way geared to the tits.
Yep.
Still dying. Where, does it not have a proper game flow? I'd kind of like to play it and know what the problem is.
Yeah, me too. I'm just waiting for it to be a price that matches my interest. But
yes,
I want to say this is, if not on Stadia, the plan is to get it on Stadia. So maybe that's a way to play it. Although, no, never mind, because with Stadia, you have to still buy it. Yeah. So no, thanks.
Pay it for a whole $20 hairs.
Yeah, just to get in to buy it. But yeah, I wonder, and we'll see what really happens. But hopefully they're committed to do whatever changes they need to keep that. I think it's about the grind. You mentioned it perfectly, where it's with Destiny, it keeps people wanting to play it, even though it's the same content. They keep adding stuff, various DLC and whatnot levels, but
events. They got events.
Yeah, the big events.
Play.
So they need to maybe follow something like that and just kind of. But it's a hard nut to crack, keeping a community there and wanting to keep playing it. It's tough. Sometimes it works, even though you have all this money. Sometimes it doesn't work, even though you have all that money.
It's sort of tricky too with this whole live service game. Like, I feel like the industry as a whole doesn't really have it figured out yet. Because I can't fucking stand it. And I think eventually I could. I think there is a balance. You know what? Honestly, probably the closest thing would probably be like, what's the pirate game?
Oh, Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, I think I could probably, if I really dove into Sea of Thieves, I think I could really love Sea of Thieves. Yeah. But also there's no grind in that game. It's just...
That's the thing.
Do enjoy. Could you make this game into a game where you just fucking go and you're challenged and other people can come in and mess with your shit? That could be really interesting. Could you make that change to probably not Destiny? Probably wouldn't.
The thing, I think you nailed it, where you have to pick your route and kind of nail whatever mechanics that make you special. So with Sea of Thieves, you're right. There's no real grind. It's just the fun repeatableness of the camp or the gameplay itself. Like, that's what keeps people in, having fun, being just assholes and with their friends and just standing on the seas. They need there to figure out what this thing needs to be that makes it special, that keeps you wanting to play it. It seems like they're picking from other things that are popular and trying to shove it in there, but it doesn't seem to be its own unique playthrough gameplay rather.
Yeah.
But they need to kind of figure what that is. And No Man's Sky eventually figured it out. And that's how they were able to kind of pull themselves out from that negative reception. But it's a matter of figuring out, what is this game going to be? Why is it fun?
Speaking of Sea of Thieves, I have a coworker who plays it, and he hasn't played it since launch. He didn't really like it at launch. He's gone back and played it, and he's like, "There's a ton of content now, but also you can just set a flag that makes it so you're marked on people's map."
Really?
And it's basically this is I want to fight marker.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's like, here I am, come at me. And you see other people putting it up, so you could just get into these massive like ship battles, I assume.
Awesome. That's great with like telling the game, okay, I do want combat, like FPF combat, or when I do want to be just leave me alone kind of thing. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing you worry about with a game that's open like this, is anybody can come in and fuck with your ship and mess with you, but you have to be able to tell, like, hey, I'm actually doing my own thing, or I want to engage in combat. That's a great way to do it.
Right. Well, and this game had like people complained about it because it had these servers where it'd be like no combat servers, and to a large degree, like that kind of destroys the core concept of the game. Yeah, you're gonna get griefed, but this is a game about pirates,
right? Exactly.
Be fucking pirates.
Yeah. Right. And have some options where you can choose to do that. We should play this. I do want to try this out. I think I don't know if it's crossplay between PC and console. I have it, the ability to play both either way.
Sure.
But I would like to try this.
I think it is crossplay. If nothing else, like I just love the concept of just like the whole driving the ship thing.
Yeah.
Like it seems like people have fun with that. There's technique. There's where you drop the anchor to pull a U-turn.
You have to communicate and the things that fall apart when you try to communicate with people. Yeah.
Right. You're having to fix your ship mid-battle. Somebody loads themselves into the cannon and launches themselves at your ship, and one man takes down your entire crew because they're that badass. Like it's pretty fucking cool.
See, it's that loop that makes it so special. So yeah, I think going back to Marvel's Avengers, they need to figure out what makes that game special and fun.
Yeah.
And maybe you shouldn't be thinking about that now. Not that they haven't, but it's like you need to nail that beforehand or be on a track to where it's going to improve.
I also adore these graphics. They're so perfect to make a lighthearted game, but they also there are moments in this that are genuinely awe-inspiring. You're watching them fight a Kraken or fight the Megalodon, or you see the giant skull cloud above an island.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For sure. You know what this does? For some reason, this reminded me. I did play another game this week. I tried to play it. It's called Phantasmagoria or whatever. It's that super creepy game.
You tried playing Phasmaphobia?
Yes.
Bruh.
It's very scary to the point where I didn't want to keep playing it, and I didn't really do much.
We should play this.
So that's the thing. So I think we'd have to
get Megan in on it.
Yeah. But we need to set up your PC and stuff so we can actually do it multiplayer.
Oh, my PC can run this shit.
Okay, yeah,
this
I'm not saying that it can't,
but
that's the only thing. It's we'd have to set up your PC, but I'm still down to do it. But yeah, that's where it would be fun playing with other people. You have to really work together, and there's only a certain amount of equipment you can carry with you, and you have to use these various EKG meters or whatever, and sense this ghost, and then antagonize them by using the audio with your microphone, which I was trying to figure out. I was trying to get this ghost to come out, and he would not.
You got to memorize the commands.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been watching some streamers play it, and they're able to get attacked and fucked with by ghosts. But yeah, I didn't even experience any ghosts, and just walking around the house was already enough to turn me off because it was so scary. Because it's dead quiet, and you hear weird creaks, and you have this shitty flashlight.
Let's put you in VR.
Yeah, I tried the VR, and it does work. It's still kind of wonky, but it does work, and it's even scarier. But yeah, I do want to try and actually get a good gameplay of this going. But yeah, people were lighting this thing up online, and people really love it. It's still very much it's a smaller title where it needs some work, but
it needs a lot of love.
Yeah, but they have the core idea that's really fun, and I can tell where this could be really cool.
I think something that is kind of confusing is I have one of my favorite streamers, Swag Dracula, plays a lot of this game, but there's a nice thing about streaming games where you can just look at it and get it, and I still don't get how you fucking play this game. I know you're trying to figure out what the ghost is.
It doesn't tell you a lot. That was my big frustration, and Megan was sitting down with me. It's I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do, but we had to go online and figure it out. There's that EKG meter thing. You can actually leave it in a room, and it will alert you when there's some kind of crazy activity. There's a black light, which I'm not sure what it does. And there's other things, or even I didn't know that.
I think handprints with the black light.
Oh, okay.
If the ghost leaves handprints.
Well, that's the thing. Is it a Tuesday? Did it leave handprints? Is it wearing shoes? There's all these different rules.
Right.
But it doesn't tell you that. But I guess that's part of the fun is learning that. But yeah, there's various things you have a camera that you can use for some reason, and it just doesn't tell you what's going on. So even the fact that you have to use your microphone to kind of talk to the ghost, I didn't realize I had to, and so I went back and kind of started doing that. But yeah, so I wish they kind of held your hand a little bit more, but it's still, there's a really cool idea there.
I think the thing that this game really points out, and this is why it is fun to watch, especially if you don't understand. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of ghost hunting shows, and they're all kind of bullshit.
Oh yeah, they're all bullshit.
Ghosts don't exist. But this is how fucking dope they would be if ghosts exist. Where you're oh shit, it's a little girl with a knife. Are you cold? I'm cold. Bring out the thermometer. What did we reach freezing? No, we're not quite at freezing. There's so much trying to piece together the puzzle and figure out, did I really see that? Did it really happen? Or do I just want it to happen? And then you vote at the end and pick your thing, and then you get it wrong.
Yeah, and it's great because you're right. That's taking this idea of what we would want a ghost adventure to be like, and they're giving it to you.
I really appreciate that the streaming community took this on, because I personally think this game looks terrible.
Yeah, it's not a looker for sure,
but the concept is there,
right?
And people are still playing it.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
It's a testament to,
fuck
See, I don't want to see that in VR.
Jesus Christ. You just pooped the pants right there?
Yeah, I just don't wear pants when I play this game. It just goes right on the floor. But yeah, no, they nailed the core gameplay. So it's just a matter of eventually making it look prettier. Maybe you don't even have to do that because you already have so many people streaming it and playing it.
Right.
But yeah.
And that's sort of a technique too, is because it's not necessarily a looker, anyone can play this. I can play this. I promise you.
As far as like the ability for your PC to run it, that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah.
I gotta try this again. And Halloween's coming up, so we can have a creepy time playing that game.
Yeah.
Well, Gavin, it's been an hour. We can end it there. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs. I would like to mention, by the way, that new whatchamacallit game's coming out in 10 days.
Cyberpunk?
Legion? Something Legion?
Oh, Watch Dogs Legion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on your radar enough to play it? I think we talked about it before. I've been kind of like so on that whole series of games where I don't know if this one's enough, but I like the whole take over any NPC mechanic. That's pretty cool.
I'd love to try it based on the demos where people were just like approaching a mission, depending on which character they had. They were going vastly different ways about it.
Yeah.
So it could be really good. And the people playing it for an hour trying to recruit as many people as possible and not seeing these recruitment missions loop. I mean, it could just...
You can dress your grandma up, and we talk about having an army of grannies. I definitely want to do that.
As far as games that have existed, like this has had so incredibly much money. That sentence was poor, but I don't care. This has had so much money thrown at it, so much money. And this is a crazy concept that could blow up in its own face. But if it succeeds, I would even say if it 75% succeeds, you'd probably be willing to put up with the bullshit to experience the goodness.
Right. I think they need to market this a little bit better just so it's people realize it's coming out and just kind of give people a reason why they need to play this. But I guess the whole Watch Dogs series is pretty well known, and so they're kind of hoping that it does more of the weight. But yeah, it's a really, really crazy concept, and I don't think anybody else has really tried anything to this extent. But yeah, I'm hoping that they nail it. I think it's gonna. I expect it to be a little rough when it comes out, and some updates will kind of improve it a bit. But that's kind of how these games have gone. But yeah, it's a long way from the original Watch Dogs E3 trailer where there's just that one dude in the coat walking around to now, controlling NPCs as you want to. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. I think when it came down to it, the whole hacking thing maybe didn't appeal to me, but yeah, maybe I own like the second one and the first one. I think I need to at some point give them a shot and actually try it out. But
I still need to go back and play the first one. And having lived in Chicago, see how it compares to my memory.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they hit the big milestones in Chicago, but they're not going to go one for one. But yeah,
I'd be curious if they paid to license the Trump Tower for it.
Interesting.
Because that would have been spendy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he needs the money, so I'm sure they would have made a deal. Alrighty, Gavin, we'll end it there. You can find you on Twitter at DrunkDevs, right?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
You can find us as well on Twitter at Plastic Art Pod. That's it for us this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.